Ready to rock and roll? Very good. Mr. Kerr, would you lead us in the pledge tonight, sir?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. Heavenly Father, bless this assemblage. Grant us the wisdom to make our every decision fair-minded and in the best interest for all its residents. I kindly ask everyone to please remain standing as we honor the Vespia and the Passero family, the passing of Mary Passero. I'm proud to say that I've known the family for since I was a young boy, Sam, and true friends to our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Supervisor Villanova. I'll do my presentation a little later in the evening. Thanks. So let's get to the minutes. I'll wait till we do through resolutions. I'll do my presentation. I want to make sure the TV team's warmed up the whole thing. Okay, can I get a motion to approve the minutes of the January 20, 2015 minute?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Any comments from the public? Okay, terrific. Mr. Hubert's away today. So we haven't seen Goldie. How's Goldie?
I saw Goldie
How's she
tonight.
doing?
She's at the port.
She's okay.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Good.
She's still a Spitfire.
Excellent. Good. Okay. Yeah, we have a conflict with Portchester tonight. Oh, comments from the public? No. Good evening, Mr. Nardi. Actually, let me ask you. Sorry.
That's all right.
Call the roll, please. Yep. Sorry. No, take your time.
The meeting for February 17th, 2015 is now called to order. Collins? Here. Nardi?
Here.
Nioras? Villanova?
Here.
Carvin.
Here. Perfect. Okay. Convey property from Town of Rye to K&M Realty. Mr. Nowotnik, you want to take us through this?
Sorry. If you'll recall, the town acquired this particular property on Bowman Avenue during an In-Rem proceedings. It was taken late last year, November 21st, and since then there have been a series of negotiations. There has been an offer made of $120,000. And K&M Realty will ultimately buy the property back, and that's what the resolution is. If you'd like me to read the resolution, I'll be glad to.
That's fine. I think that Mr. Konigsberg, everything's fine with this, and I expect we'll close in the next couple of weeks. Is that right?
Yeah, Paul gets back from council.
Okay, fantastic, great, and welcome, Mr. Councilman Nioras.
Good to see you, bro.
Good to see you. Cheers. I hope would you note that Mr. Nioras, Councilman Nioras is good. Okay, any questions on this? I'm glad you're going to get the property back. I know you put a lot of time and effort, investment in that, so I'm glad that we're able to work this out. If not, any questions? Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Hope would you call the roll?
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, now I'm a little confused here on this next sale. Thank you, Mr. Konigsberg. Thank you very much. Good to see you. Glad it's back on track. This next one, I thought that is Rona coming or Martha coming tonight? Did you
No,
say?
Rona is not coming. This particular...
I think this was going forward.
Right, it is not as of right now. The buyer has reconsidered their offer.
Right.
They are concerned about proper title, and at this stage of the game, there are other bidders that Rona Collegiero is trying to vet.
Okay, what I'm going to do actually is, since this is I think we can, well, we don't have our town attorney here, but I think we can go, since it's a transaction, we can table it, but I also wanted to see if we couldn't go into executive session. I'm not sure if any, who's our
Yeah, we can go,
Legally.
we can go in executive
It's a
session.
contract,
to discuss-
it's a
correct.
contract negotiation, right?
Exactly right.
So, because I want to, yeah, okay, perfect. So at the end of the meeting, I'd like to go into executive session. We'll table it for the time being.
Very good.
Do we need to formally table that? Yep, so
Just
can
did
I
it.
get a motion to table?
So moved.
In a second?
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Okay, Town Assessor Canower?
Good evening, everyone. Honorable Supervisor Carvin and the council members. I actually have 4 resolutions for this evening. The first one being the sort of the annual resolution to approve appraisal services based on a set schedule of fees so that we're ready to go when and if we need an appraisal. So really, this resolution sets forth the schedule of fees if, in fact, we do need an appraisal, so that we don't have to get a resolution to approve an appraisal each time.
Right. And I'm sorry, go ahead, Bob.
We had something like that before, where we had stated contractual rates with various appraisers. Do you have a copy of that? Are you aware of that?
The prior resolution?
Not the prior resolution, but we did have some contractual agreements with
I think
various
it's the same
appraisal
people.
agencies.
It's the
Yeah,
same people.
it's
Same people,
basically
right?
Valuation Plus
Right.
and Lane, and they've given their updated fee
So
schedules.
this is just an updated fee schedule?
Right.
Can you take us through whether that's an increase, decrease, and how much?
I think it's, I don't know exactly. I'd have to double check and I'd get back to you on that. But it's relatively the same,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to know whether that's an increase or decrease, so if you get back to us, I'd
Okay.
appreciate that.
Okay, so you want to table this then?
I mean, I could probably check on my laptop. I've got access to my,
Yeah, if you want to check, then
I'd
maybe
like
we
to get back to
can-
you shortly.
Yes, we'll come back to it.
Okay.
We'll come back to this one, so we'll
Okay.
table C for the time being. Can I get a motion to table C?
Table C for the time being.
Yep, I got a motion.
I can make a motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, perfect. Resolution D.
Okay, the second resolution is for the Income Works contract, the renewal. Basically, we hired them to assist us with the analysis of commercial properties and commercial property valuation. And because they go out and survey the market each year, there is a renewal aspect to their contract, and this is that renewal.
Okay, again, where does this stand with?
Flat.
Flat. Okay.
Flat. In fact,
And this was budgeted for this amount for this?
Correct,
Okay,
correct.
fine.
And there was a 3% increase, which he waived.
And
Excellent.
also, this is an effort to bring in a lot of the valuation in-house.
To validate it,
To
basically.
validate valuation.
Actually, my next question, how are we proceeding on that?
It's actually working out very well. I mean, there are some examples, I don't know if I really want to go over them
No,
on,
it's fine.
on camera, but if you wanted to hold an executive session, I could clearly spell out the kinds of validation of the values we're doing, for the Mariner and some of the newer properties especially. I mean,
Okay.
where Vision will use the cost approach to come up with a value, and IncomeWorks is looking at it more from an income approach, so maybe we can blend the two a little better, so be a little more
Having
aggressive.
been involved with various commercial mortgages, almost all banks or lenders, if you will, use the income approach for
Right.
valuation purposes rather than market approach or cost approach.
Right, and then,
So-
but although when it's brand new like that, sometimes the only way you can do
Do
is
is
start out
cost.
with the cost approach, although it can be pretty conservative, so.
Right.
It's another really good tool. It's been an awesome tool in helping me value the United Hospital property, the redevelopment of that. I mean, we were using Vision to come up with a value and this to come up with a value, and they're pretty much right on target, which is
Excellent.
really pretty cool.
All right, great.
Yeah.
That's all the questions.
So
I
it's
have.
it's a valuable tool. It saves us from a couple of appraisals at the very least at $3,500 a piece. It pays for itself pretty quickly.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing is also next year allow us to further reduce costs, because I think we won't need Vision once we've had them in.
If we can, we're trying. We're
Right.
trying to get toward that, but it seems like the day-to-day requirements of whatever we're doing are really taken hold of us more than we can,
Right.
move forward with these initiatives. So hopefully we can.
Okay, perfect.
Great.
Good. Okay, can I get a motion to improve Income Works?
So moved?
Second?
Second.
Would you call the roll, please, Hope?
Yes.
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 Yep. Okay. Okay, we have a certiorari here, Town Assessor Knauer. Could you just walk us through your recommendation, please?
Okay, this is a property in the village of Mamaroneck, basically it's for family, and the village pretty much settled the value on their behalf. They obtained an appraisal from Valuation Plus, settled their case on the village level, and essentially we are moving forward with the values that they've accepted, which are reasonable. If you look at the reductions,
Sorry, when did they agree to it?
I don't have the actual date, but it was, I don't know, probably a half a year before we negotiated.
The quick question. This is a 4-family house?
Mhm.
Did they provide us a rent roll? The rent, the income,
They-
the income
They
expense?
did, but generally with these 4 families, that with the rent rolls, those, when you do an income approach, those values are coming out pretty low. So it's really good to get an appraiser in to look at the market, look at what other properties are renting for, and stabilize that rent, stabilize the expenses, and come up with a value that way. So it's really very helpful to have an appraisal for a 4-family, because it's sort of bridging that gap between residential and commercial, and
Right.
sort of a gray area. And if you look at only their income, generally it's producing a value that's lower than market.
So this goes back 6 years, the certiorari?
The years at issue are, well,
Actually,
they're
more than 6
05.
years.
They're 05 to
A total of 6 years.
13. In terms of the settlement,
Right.
yes.
Well,
The
but this is
13
well, that's the question I had. Is there's 10 years? How is it that they did? I thought they had 4 years to bring this.
It's probably simmering out there on the court, going unnoticed, and then it was brought to a head. I mean, the court, there's still some cases out there that are going back to 05.
That we have?
I believe so,
Can
yes.
we bring them to? Can we bring them to court?
We can.
All right. Could we, Mr. Arcaro? You've worked with the assessment department in the past. Could we get a list of the ones that are
We're
more than
working
4
on
years
it.
outstanding?
Yeah,
Okay, great.
diligently. We've got this monster schedule that we're working on, so
Okay.
we're getting a real handle on the cases that go back that far.
Great.
But it's really a challenge to piece all these things together, because the courts don't necessarily use section, block, and lot, which is really our common denominator and all these variables, but we are working on it.
Beautiful. Sorry, Councilman Nioras, did you?
Yeah, so the total refund amount is the sum total of that bottom line on the last page of this document?
Yes.
I didn't
Isn't that the-
sum total them. Those were
The 106.
town, that's town,
13 and the 2. right?
school, right, and county. And village did their own refund, so that wasn't a part of
Okay.
this equation. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, going forward, and this is probably one of the few that has survived their assessing department, correct? Going forward, that's not going to be the case. They won't be able to settle on their own.
Well, when it comes to certs, there may be some cases out there that are still existing that they'll be negotiating on their own.
That's what I'm saying. This is one of a few.
It is one of a few, correct. I don't know the number,
Right.
but I certainly can find out,
Yeah.
because
We should probably find out how many there are. We reach out to them so we can identify what our exposure is and what the potential is for the future. Because if the village of Mamaroneck, and chances are we're not going to go against what they're doing, but if the village of Mamaroneck is settling their own certs, and they're going to come to us to ultimately
rubber stamp them,
ratify it, it's important.
right. And then who will also be paying for the appraisal, because
Correct.
that's key. I mean, when you're talking about $3,000 for an appraisal, but $106 refund on the town level, it kind of works in our favor, but at the same time, we want to make sure the values are good, which is what we are doing that anyway. We're checking that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve the certiorari?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Hope call the roll, please.
Yes.
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, and this is our annual homestead, non-homestead,
Correct?
and this is for Rye-Town?
This is for the town. We're the first ones.
Okay, and do you remember what it was last year?
I actually have that
Oh, good.
information. Last year it was 67.77% for homestead rounded, 32.23% for non-homestead.
So the commercial properties have appreciated relatively in value, is that it?
A little bit, yes. So they're up to the 33.08, which is a 0.85% increase, and residential is down 66.91% to 91%, which is a 0.86% decrease.
Perfect. Any questions?
So it's moving in the right direction.
Depending on who you are.
Depending upon who you
Depends
are.
who you are, yeah.
Yeah, well, and do you anticipate that that same shift will happen the villages as well?
Yes,
Yes,
it
okay.
did happen in the villages.
Okay.
The only one that went up was the Rhinex School District.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks so much. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Hope, would you call the roll?
Yes.
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, special event, Mr. Nowotnik.
Okay, this is the first special event that has come in under the new policy guidelines.
How
that
many
the
people are
board,
we talking?
Approved, 250.
Wow.
The
It's a
couple that
wedding?
is running the event, it's an engagement party. They are here.
Oh, okay, come on up.
They were
You sure you want to do this? No, I'm sorry, I apologize.
I'll go on record, yes.
There you go. Excellent. Well, I don't think that was what the policy was intended for, but let me ask, see if anybody from the board has any questions.
Okay. How will you have? You're anticipating 250 people. How will you be handling parking?
So we're actually it's going to be addressed in the invitation as well to ensure that as many people are carpooling as possible. And we're, as you are very familiar with the park, so we're hoping that after you get past the mansion and basically the road down to where you basically come out on Lincoln Avenue, the cars will be parked on the side of the road to still allow for traffic to exit the park, but without having the cars on the grass as well.
What are the guarantees that that's going to be the case? And the reason being is that that's really not a parking area off the side of the road. I can tell you that at the end of the football season this past year, the drop-off there
Was a lot.
is probably close to a foot, sometimes a foot and a half. So don't depend on that.
Yep. We actually also looked into potentially not renting, but going to the Rye-Town Hilton and actually having cars parked there and then shuttle our guests from Crawford Park to the Rye-Town Hilton as well. So,
Okay.
I mean, at your direction.
Well, Bishop, but hold on. What do we provide for it? Are we going to have...
Well, one of the things that we normally would provide one or two staffers to coordinate
Right.
parking within the park. Remember, I think the commission, the board had limited parking in the park to 150 cars.
Yeah, 250 people we're talking, right?
250 people.
Yeah, so you're not going to have 250 cars.
Right, so we probably can handle it with the two staffers
Right.
that we would
So
have to
would
provide.
you prefer, I would have thought you'd prefer to pay for the two staffers then.
We would love to.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I don't want you going to Rye-Town Hill.
Yeah, I think
we were
as long
just-
as your guests are aware to anticipate potential parking difficulties, then are encouraged to make plans on their own to carpool, then that should
And
help
our
you a
standard
lot.
parking process is that we load up that field
Yeah.
immediately to the right of the mansion before you get to the mansion.
Right,
Right.
right.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that, so that
Yeah,
actually makes
we'll
a
work
lot
with you.
more
It'll
sense.
be- yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, we're estimating about 100 cars.
Right.
And I think that's honestly on the high end.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be that many, but I wanted to err on the side of caution just
Yeah,
to make
sure.
sure that we represented it
Good.
the correct way.
Bishop, do you know, is there any sports activities that are happening that day?
a Saturday during the daytime.
Technically, there should not be. The only thing that might be happening is I'm not sure if soccer practice begins again. It usually starts up early in September or late August.
Okay.
But all of our other activities are pretty much shut down. The band finishes up that Thursday before then.
Okay. The one thing I will suggest, and this obviously is a sizable event that will take up the mansion and the pavilion. It's going to be a large event. I would probably suggest that if there is a practice or something like that, or use of the fields, maybe if we can not take that practice and tell them to go to a different date, or the morning maybe, as not to
Create too
further
much.
create a
Yeah.
traffic issue.
Our standard process, for example, you'll notice this is an exclusive use fee, so we do not have a pavilion event going on at that particular point. We do try to contact the sports groups.
Right. So I know that we have the pavilion. That's not an issue. I'm just talking about the parking, because the sports people are going to come if there is a sports event, and they're going to park wherever they want. So let's just be mindful, and I want to make sure that this event happens without any issue.
If I could just add to David Thomas from the Parks Department, he had actually looked at the calendar because he had addressed that, or I had asked that issue myself. Are there? Because I've been to the park during soccer games and played soccer too my whole life, so I know where the parking was. And he actually did say that the only potential event could be a town rec practice, but that was usually done by noontime. That's what he had said to me, but I would greatly appreciate if we were the only ones at the park that day, if at all possible.
That would be my suggestion to staff, is to make sure that we either make sure that it ends, because if your event's happening at 12 o'clock, you're going to be there, I don't know, 11 o'clock, 10:30, setting up.
Right. That was one thing too that I wanted to ask. So we were trying to figure out the best start time, either noon or 1 o'clock. And I guess it could go around the town schedule as well, if there's another event, to just make it as easy as possible.
I think that's probably the best thing to do, is to work that out with Mr. Nowotnik and staff to identify the best time.
Perfect.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Thank you. So can I get any further comments from the board?
No.
So as consistent with our first policy, can I get a motion to approve this special event?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second it.
Okay, the words come down squarely in favor of love.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming tonight.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Hope, just call the roll, just
Collins. Christina. Yes.
Aye.
Yes. Very good.
Okay, thank you. All right. Okay, why don't I make? Actually, we're going to go to executive session, I think, for B, and C. You're going to come up with some numbers for us, Town Assessor Canower. Did you? You're working. Okay, we'll give you a couple. Then I'll do my presentation. That'll give you a little time to. Do we have a presentation? Yes. Okay. Beautiful. Great. I will. Yep. Perfect. Great.
Want to do that now?
Yeah. Yep. Let's do that.
It's kind of a strange spot.
You might want to skip it.
Watch your head.
Which one do you want first?
Historical.
The historical? Okay.
Yeah, perfect. And you could take it down, go down to the, So anyway, basically, what I wanted to do here is, this is a follow-on from our budgeting meeting in December of last year, and I just wanted to take a closer look at our financials. I apologize for that, hoping to get these things to you earlier. So, first of all, this is just the historical.
I'm just trying to,
This is the historical financials from 2008 to 2013 to give us a sense of where we've been in the town. So these are all the numbers. Basically, well, Greg, I think we'll just go down to the, yeah, come down, keep going. So these are audited historical numbers, 2008 to 2013. Total appropriations, that is total operating expenditures plus debt service. Okay, so basically those are, okay, am I messing up? No. Oh. Okay. There you go. Hold it up.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
You hear me now?
You want to reverse
Yeah.
a little bit so we don't miss you?
Okay, so I'll start again?
You can go right now.
Okay, take two. Town to Rye financials, 2008 to 2013. If this isn't scintillating, I don't know what is. But basically, what I wanted to do was, on the back of our year-end budgeting review, you know, we've done some fantastic things here in the town of Rye. When we came in, non-tax revenues were $4 million. That's in 2007 dollars. 2007, $4 million in non-tax revenues. Today, they're 2.4 million. 2.4. So not even taking into account inflation, they're down 40%. And poor Mr. Nowotnik's worked very hard to bring our expenditures down, our operating expenditures. But basically what I want to talk about on an ongoing basis, what we saw at the end of the year with the 5-year projections is we're really going to be running about a $300,000 deficit. And I wanted to show you how we get there. We'll give you all this information. As I said, I apologize. I wanted to get it to you beforehand, but with the holiday yesterday, we didn't have an opportunity to do that. So I'll introduce it to you today. We'll send you the Excel spreadsheets for you to play around with and look at and go into more depth. But basically, you have the total appropriations, which is operating expenditures plus debt service. And you can see, this is Mr. Nowotnik really started to prove his mettle in 2013. Where we brought the operating expenditures down to $2.7 million. And again, this is from an original budget of $4 million from the previous administration. Now, what kind of revenue have we been getting? Well, we basically started with $3.1 million in revenue, of which taxes were $639,000. Non-tax revenues, 2.5. We had a good year in 2009. They came up to 2.7 and then came back down. Now, in 2005 and 2012 and 2013, you see they've come up to 2.5. Part of that is the way we've accounted for this. Could you go back up to the very top of the sheet? We brought in new accountants, and this is something we need to investigate a little bit more closely to better understand that. So if you look at, here's our tax line, and you can see there's $224,000 in exempted revenues primarily, and $146,000 the next year, which brought us up to $2.5 million in non-tax revenues. I don't know, Mr. Burns, if you have any insights into that. We were looking at it today, and what we're told is basically we guarantee a tax base. And when some of those, when somebody who was previously exempted is no longer exempted, and that generates a revenue for the town of Rye. And our new auditors have accounted as for such. Did I get that right? Yes. Okay. So basically, we're about go back down, Greg. About $2.5 million in non-tax revenues, accounting for these last two items the last couple of years. So now, if you take the 4-year average, well, you took more than a 4-year average. Okay. 3.2 million, isn't that last column? Yeah, oh, you did, okay, so it's higher than I thought. So you're basically, the 4-year average in operating expenditures has been $3 million, and when you add debt service, it's about $3.2 million. The average revenues have been $2.9 million, and the operating non-tax revenues have been 2.6. Now, what I wanted to compare in terms of the operating deficit are total operating expenditures of $3 million versus non-tax revenues of 2.6, which generates an operating deficit of about $476,000. So those are we basically have to find a way to fund that going forward. So that's the background. We'll give this all to you. You had a chance to look at it in more depth. But now we're going to go to Mr. Arcaro's projections. I wanted you to have a sense of what's our actual experience. We tried to bring in 2014 numbers. They're not good. They were confusing, so I didn't want to present anything that we weren't confident what they were. So we'll go to the 2015 budget and project it over the next 5 years. And you go back down to the bottom of the page again, Mr. Arcaro? Right there. Thank you. Okay, perfect. Okay, stop right there. All right, so basically, consistent with historical, we're basically saying the operating expense looking out the next several years is just over about $2.7 million, between $2.7 and $2.8 million. 2.7 here. The non-tax revenue that's been projected is about $2.4 million. So we're 2.7, 2.8 on the operating expenses. We're 2.4, 2.5 on the non-tax revenues. So you can have a $300,000 to $400,000 deficit in each of the next 5 years unless we do something. And then when you add the debt service, and this are Mr. Burns' numbers, right? You've given us the debt service for the next several years. So basically you have a funding deficit of about $650,000, $680,000 that you need to fund. Now when you add back, this is pre-tax. All this is pre-tax. We brought our taxes all the way down to $265,000. So if we're going to fund this deficit with taxes, we'd have to increase taxes 150%. Right? So 150% or 2.6 times. Now, I know no one on this board wants to do that, but I wanted to show the challenge. And there's two ways to meet the challenge. Continue to bring the $2.7 million in operating expenditures down, try and get it to the $2.5 million range, and maybe get some additional revenue, get it up. So as it stands now, our best guess, and we can play with these numbers. I'll share you with Excel files with you. You can all have them. But as it stands now, historically, we've had an operating deficit in excess of $400,000. Going forward, it looks pretty clear we're going to have an operating deficit of at least $300,000. That's the principal message I wanted to share with you today. Because ultimately, so those are the numbers I wanted to share with you. We'll send you the Excel files. We can talk about them again at the next meeting. We'll answer all your questions. We're doing a lot of, obviously, financial analytical work. I'll give you an update on town dissolution a little bit later on. But ultimately, it seems to me we need to fundamentally continue to restructure the town. Either consider town dissolution. We're not going to talk about town dissolution tonight. I know the board is keeping an open mind, hasn't made any decisions on town dissolution. But certainly one solution for this deficit problem would be town dissolution. Another potential solution is continued restructuring of the town operations to see if we can't take another couple $100,000 out. Now, I've made a commitment. I want to make a commitment here to the public. I made a commitment to our employees that I'm going to do everything in my power to continue to work with our full-time employees so that whatever restructuring occurs, they continue to have a job, at least for the foreseeable future. And that's my commitment to our town employees. So if we do town dissolution, I fully expect that they'll continue to be, our full-time employees would continue to work with us. Mr. Nwadik, unfortunately, may lose his job since he's central operations. But he sort of bought onto that, and he's probably going to be needed at the village anyway. But in terms of our tax collection, assessment departments, we basically made a commitment. Clerk's departments made a commitment to keep on the full-time staff, and that's my personal commitment that I've tried, be it town dissolution or restructuring. But I think even if you restructure, I think we can begin to take some tax, some costs out of the business. So that's basically the broad presentation. I apologize again for not getting that to you sooner, but I wanted to basically set the stage for the conversations we're going to have over the next several weeks and several months. Ultimately, what are we going to do? Certainly the last year with this board as it's structured, till another election, what do we want to try and achieve this year? What do we want to do? How do we want to leave the town for the next, obviously, Councilman Nardi, Deputy Supervisor Villanova will be here for another couple of years, but Councilman Nioras, Councilman Collins, and myself will either have to run again in November to continue to stick around, or we would have to, somebody else would do it. So what do we want to achieve this year in terms of really right-sizing the town for the next 4 years. So that's what I wanted to say. And I don't know if anybody has any questions, comments. Perfect. Okay, great. Thank you very much. Thank you. Bishop, you were going to, you didn't print out, get a chance to print out the town dissolution stuff?
Yes, I did.
Oh, where is it?
I have it. Okay. I have something for you to sign. Well, now or? Okay. More stuff.
Yeah, you ready? Okay, perfect. All right, so let's revert back to Resolution C.
Actually, I think we're going to have to table it.
Okay.
Because the last time this was done was effectively 2010, so I'm trying to resurrect this
Right.
program so we don't have to get a resolution for each appraisal. But in looking at the fee quotes now and the fee quotes then, they're a little bit different hourly by the job, so I need to just get
Is this
them.
going to impact us in the between now and next month?
Probably not. We may have one appraisal we have to
And why
take
don't
care
you
of.
see if I'm confident they'll go work with the old schedule. won't
Yeah,
they?
yeah. I mean, it's just a matter of comparing apples to apples because right now
Oh, that's good.
it's
That's
just
fine. I
not the
think
same
better be-
type
yeah.
schedule. So I
Good.
think we need to
Is
go
that
back
good,
to the
Councilman
drawing board.
Nioras?
It was a good idea.
I'm fine with that. I just want to bring up another point. I mean, as you stated, this was 2010. I think, I don't know if I worked on that or maybe David Gelfar worked on it at that time. But it might be a good point to revisit going out and getting some quotes from various valuation firms or appraisal firms, see what kind of structure they might have, rebid the contract, if you will.
Other
Firms. Right.
Unfortunately, they're
Or the
not.
same firms.
Well, it is. The two are the same firms, and we could go out to the third one that we were
Not for
dealing
this
with.
specific instance, but in general. Okay, I think we had like 3 or 4 different appraisal firms we were using.
Right.
Okay, for Certioraris, if we could just, and we evaluated a number of different ones and chose 3 or 4 that we would go to under some sort of contractual arrangement in terms of fees and services. That contract has not been looked at since 2010. Maybe it's time we look at that again.
Right.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
Very good. I'll do that. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. So we'll keep it tabled then. C, and then B, Town Attorney McCarthy, thank you for coming. I understand your GPS misdirected you. That's happened to it certainly happened to me. So we were thinking of taking up Resolution B in executive session, because, okay. Perfect, good. So we'll do that in a second. Let's get through the reports. Anything further from you, Town Assessor Knauer?
Not exactly, except all the renewals for the exemptions are out, so all the seniors need to be following up on that and getting their income taxes into us. But the good news is that 2 of the staff members have received scholarships from the Westchester County chapter of the New York State Assessors Association that amount to about $750. Charlie Zaba was a winner and Rosia Gonzalez was a winner. So they're both very good on doing continuing ed. And that was great news. Saves us a little bit of money on the
That's wonderful.
continuing ed line. Yeah, put in their names and they won.
That's one of
So
your
that was awesome.
big things you've been championing. That's wonderful.
Yeah, so that's
Great
good news.
Good. Going to be top in the state. Do they rate the just at offices? Can we get you?
Not
Huh?
yet,
Can we get
but
you
maybe
5
you can,
stars
maybe you
or something?
can get that started.
Good work. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Burns.
I just wanted to update the board each month. The auditors are starting their field work next Monday, so we've been in communication with them. They did the preliminary audit, the field work in January, and they're coming in, and part of the confirms you were signing today are part of this process. So we expect them to be done in field work about 2-3 weeks. So it'll be an update, and we're still holding strong to the timetable. and schedule.
Wonderful. That's particularly important this year, as you can imagine, with a premium on getting good, solid numbers. for whatever happens, so people can make informed decisions at a minimum.
What's the date that we need to report to the state on it?
April 30th.
April
That's
30th.
just an annual update report, and it's a consolidation.
We're looking to get audited for then, right? We're trying to get audited financials by then.
Yes.
Okay, great. That'd be wonderful. Great.
Great.
Right.
That's terrific. And we're on track for that.
Yes, we are.
Beautiful. Wow, that's great news. Boy, I tell you, these departments are humming. Oh, Honorable Mr. Meck, I know you always have good news for us.
Pay your taxes.
Honorable Supervisor Carvin, members of Town Council, Nicholas Mecca, 45 Alto Avenue, Portchester. Just a reminder to the people here in Rye Brook, we're here tonight, so that if you're responsible for your taxes, you do have a notice, and it's quite visible, it's bright yellow, that you must pay within 2 weeks, because the end of the month is coming very rapidly. Once again, the month overlaps, so we can accept it in person on March 2nd, but you shouldn't wait that long. You should get it out there. There's an envelope in there that sends it right to Jersey, which makes it an awful lot easier to process, number one. And number two, I remind people that we are no longer at 10 Pearl. You will not believe the number of calls and the people that come in and saying, I was there and no one is there. No, we've moved. We are now 222
Well, there's a big
Grace
sign
Church
that's
Street.
on the door, isn't there?
But they can't see it until they get to the door. That's the problem. And we also will working on sending out notices, because there are a couple of hundred delinquent taxpayers, and we're going to start policing them to try and get everybody up to par. So that'll be coming out in the mail also. So, any questions for me?
You know what? You bring up a good point, and I'm wondering if the new owner of 10 Pearl Street in the parking lot wouldn't mind if maybe a small sign is put up in the parking lot stating that all Town of Rye operations are at 222 Grace Church Street. Maybe that may be a phone call if you don't mind making, Bishop. I think that may be beneficial.
That's an excellent
and
suggestion.
it actually would help the new owner as well, that spaces will be freed up. So
Very
Thank
good.
you.
Yes, that's excellent,
I
because
jest-
this way it would
I
save a
jest,
lot
but,
of
yeah,
lot of
that's good.
problems. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mecca. Town Clerk Vespia? No, thank you very much. Thank you. Town Attorney McCarty, Assistant Town Attorney McCarty, anything to report? Where's Mr. Noto? Is he in Cambodia? Where is he? Vietnam? Where is he?
He is in Thailand.
Thailand. Oh,
Visiting
Thailand.
His daughter, who's teaching English there.
Oh, really? Oh, wonderful. Oh, fantastic.
Very nice.
So I think I've heard more from him from Thailand than I have.
It's a 12-hour difference, so it's not bad. Before he goes to sleep, he sees our comments from the morning and vice versa.
Great. Thank you so much. Bishop, Crawford Park? Anything to report?
There's really nothing to report. The special event situation is the only thing.
Great. Excellent. Thank you. Okay, Mr. DiCrescenzo is sunning himself in Florida. He extends his apologies. He submitted his report, and he also said he's going to be finishing up a comprehensive report of the bridges. If you remember at our last meeting, he said he was going to try and guesstimate what the anticipated costs are emanating from the bridges, and he's got a first draft of that, and we'll hopefully get something to the board the next week or so on that.
That's fine.
Great. Okay. Comments from councilpersons. Councilwoman Collins, you're doing great work on sustainability. You should be applauded for that. I don't know if you have any updates for us.
Well, for those of you who did not see the Westmore News, they were gracious enough to report on the sustainability initiative. Thank you for that. And for members of the public, we do have since started a great Facebook page where several members of the committee are committing tips and things. And if you are a Facebook member, it'd be great to follow us at the facebook.com/Rye-Town Sustainability just to get some great tips and information. And we'll have some other information coming out in the upcoming months for non-Facebook users.
Oh, wonderful. That's me.
Not to worry, but you know, it is a great outlet for some communication if you are a user. But we are working on doing a little bit more of a larger outreach project.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. Anything else?
That's it for now.
Councilman Nardi?
No, I don't have any comments.
Okay, I know you've been working hard.